of all his children, he had this biggest plan for me. So you, in school, he left and my parents broke down again. Kuboko was by the side. He doesn't know how to comport himself when he's angry. Someone coming out with a machete. Hey, promise, I will not lie. Finished. This is that my parents started longing for his visit. Today we are going to do something different, which is story time. Story time, because I did promise my Instagram and Facebook followers that I was going to give a follow-up story about what really happened between me and my husband before we got married. Now, I shared a throwback or some throwback pictures, and I wrote some stories that led up to when we got married. And then people started asking questions and all that. So I'm going to now just give you guys a full gist here. Some of you also suggested that we share it on this platform. You guys know that I have been married for, hold on, let me calculate, 2025. You guys know that I've been married for close to 15 years now. And it's no longer news that I married my husband very young. When I mean very young, I married my husband when I was in my final year. But a lot of things transpired. Like we started dating right from either my year 2, year 3 and all that. So I want to give you guys the backstory of what happened that led up to our marriage. Now, the first time I ever opened my mouth to tell my dad about my husband, that was when I felt my husband was a bit serious about me. Not even a bit serious. I knew he was very serious about me. He had come to my school to visit on 1 or 2 occasions. I have the photo here. I'm going to tag the photo here for you guys. So this photo was the first time my husband ever visited me in school, University of Uyo. And he had to plan with my friend, Udeme. God bless you. She was such a very amazing support system then, because I had so much fear in me. In fact, you know, when you're scared that, oh God, what will happen if my dad hears I'm dating this guy? What will happen if my dad hears that this guy wants to marry me? And Udeme was my backbone. She would tell me, he wants to marry you. Is it a bad thing? Tell your dad. Your dad will not kill you. He will not bite you. You will not do this. So Udeme was that friend. And I absolutely love you, girl. If you're watching this video, thank you so much. So she was always communicating with my husband. And the first time my husband visited school and lodged just right behind my school, the menu, I didn't know, so it was a surprise. So that's where we took this picture in the annex campus. Right now, you can see me in my papa's cap. Anyway, so afterwards we actually dated for 3 years. My 3rd year, 2nd semester, my husband showed seriousness about me, and I knew it was time to tell my parents about him. My mom had an idea. My mom is that person that always has an idea. But my dad knew nothing. See, this story is very long, right? But I'm trying to just stay focused on the main story for today. My mom knew about my husband because somehow I confided in her that there is someone I'm seeing. But I begged her not to tell my dad. Whether she told my dad, I have no idea. Because now as an adult, I think back and I'm like, my mom didn't used to hide anything from my dad. In fact, on so many occasions, we just felt that my dad knew. So right now, I cannot even tell you whether she actually told my dad or not. But to my knowledge, my dad had no idea. So it was time to actually break this news. Somehow I needed to start leveling the ground a little bit. I could not just say, oh, I want to get married, or there is someone coming to marry me. I just needed a leveling ground. So, I don't know, for some reason, I trusted my husband so much that after we had dated for more than a year, I just knew that he's someone I could rely on. I knew he was someone I could trust. So one weekend, he wanted me to meet his mom. And his mom used to live in Owerri then. So my husband was working in Aba. So the plan was I would travel down to Aba and then we'll drive down to Owerri. I traveled down to Aba and my husband took me to his mom that weekend. And this thing happened on a Saturday as against Sunday. My family used to worship in the campus church. As someone that was living in the hostel, they expected that on Sunday I would be in church since I did not visit home. Myself, I don't know what I was thinking. Meanwhile, I was in Owerri. Then the next day my phone rang. I saw my dad's call. Hey God. And that was the time when church usually dismissed. God, my heart was beating. I told my husband, see you. It's like my dad is calling me. I had to pick. When I picked, he said, where are you? I said, Daddy, I did as in network was bad. Daddy, I'm here. Where are you? We are in front of your hostel. Come out. I knew I was finished. I knew I was finished. What would I say? First of all, he warned us never to go to anybody's church. So if I say I went to a friend's church, it would be a big crime. In fact, the rule was you must worship in that campus church. Either you're at home this weekend or we're all in church together on Sunday. Do you understand? So they expected to see me. I don't know what kind of, if I think back now, I was so foolish. I don't know what kind of boldness I had to even make that move that weekend without thinking of the repercussion if my parents went to church and didn't see me. So I told my husband, this meeting is over. I have to start traveling back to you now. My husband was like, okay, fine, fine, fine. I'll drive you back. I'll drive you back. That's how we left his mom's house that morning. Rushed. My husband drove like a mad person. Dropped me in school. I was left to deal with the whole thing myself. So I knew that it was time for me to go home because my dad was boiling. I could not explain where I was. My mom, she had an idea, but now, when I mean she had an idea, she did not know I went to my husband's mom's. I didn't tell her. In fact, I think she must have done some calculation to think that if this girl is dating this guy, because that's the only person I ever introduced to my mom. If this girl is dating him, maybe she has gone somewhere with him. So that's why I said she had an idea. Now, I went home. I was like, creep, creep, creep. I didn't know what to do. My brothers were like, you are finished. Dad is waiting for you today, not today. Where did you go to? What have you been doing? That is very angry. Oh. My dad's face, God, if you see my dad angry, if my dad gets angry, nobody will control him. So I was like, okay, daddy, I can explain. Let me tell you what happened. And this is the gospel truth. God, if I think about this thing now, this is the gospel truth. He now said, kneel down there. Tell me, what happened? I said, daddy, there is this man. His name is Dan. In fact, you know him. You know that Wimple hospital. This is me trying to narrate because my parents have gone to that hospital for treatment before. They even took my sister, my younger sister, to that hospital before I went and met my husband. So they knew who I was referring to. So I told him, remember that Dr. Dan in Wimple Clinic? What about him? That he was, his koboko was by the side. I knew I was finished. I was just like, let me just do any explanation. Let me give him the honest truth. I didn't want to lie. And I felt this could be the opportunity I was looking for to just tell him about my husband, right? You kill me today, but I just have to say it. So I now said, Dr. Dan, he wants to marry me. So he said, see, he don't calls my mom, see, did you hear what just came out of your daughter's mouth? Marry you in school and then start paying your school fees and finish training you. In whose house? Whose daughter? Who's this? Hey! As I was trying to explain, this man just walked inside. The next night, I saw someone coming out with a machete. Hey! I ran. I knew that this one, no explanation can solve this one. I ran for my life. I've never seen my dad that furious before. Never. It was more of being furious and disappointed. I feel like my dad had so much, this huge, I think of all his children, he had this biggest plan for me. So for me to now come out in year 3 and be telling him marriage so that my life will go and end there. He will kill me first. Anyway, I ran. I refused to come inside again. My mom was like, Daddy, drop where. If you understand Igbo, drop the machete, drop it. You kill my daughter for me today. Drop. My dad said, instead of this girl to disgrace me, let me kill her today. I will kill. God. That's how I ran. I refused to go inside. I said, God, I'm finished. The drama that happened that day. My mom took the cutlass from him, started, calming him down, brainwashing him, say, listen to her first. This is the reason why your children don't tell you anything. He listened. She was trying to say something. My mom now used the opportunity to smoothen the way a little bit, just to, buttress what I was trying to say. And then he goes, so you knew? My mom said, no, I'm just saying from what she just said. So she put him in a place where you need to hear what she's trying to say first, right? Not that it wasn't in a place of acceptance or anything. Oh. After much, my brother now came and told me, that is calling me. I said, no. Say, that is calling you. Come inside. He's not going to. He doesn't have his smartphone. He doesn't have this night. Now went inside. My dad now called me to his room. This time around, it was just me and my mom. I sat down there. Or I knelt down. Sat. Who give you chair to sit? Who give you bed? You didn't know they fear with that anger. I knelt down and he now said, so what were you trying to do? Who is marriage? When did you start talking about marriage? My dad doesn't know how to comport himself when he's angry. When do you talk about, what do you mean by marriage? What do you know about marriage? How old are you that you're talking about marriage? What level are you? Instead of you to be thinking of furthering your education after university, you think you are now a big girl. What do you know about marriage? My dad said, I said, Daddy, let me tell you everything. I promise I will not lie. You know, Dr. Dan, you people know him. He's this. I don't want to know. I don't care who he is. What is it? What does he want from my daughter? I started explaining. Said he wants to marry me. And he's someone that loves education. I don't think he's that kind of person that will marry me and I will not finish my education or I will not further. He said, you ever talking about marrying in university? But I said, I do not want to hear anything about this anymore in this house. He flogged me. And so I carried my bag. After crying, cleaned my eyes. He did not want to hear it again. He said he did not want to hear it and then went around to ask me, so where were you when we came to church? Why did you not come to church today? I started explaining. I said, that's what I'm trying to explain. He came and picked me so that he can introduce me to his mother. Oh, you people have already made arrangements on proceeding with the marriage, isn't it? The so-called marriage. To the extent that you have seen his mother. I said, no, Daddy, no. He just wanted me to meet his mother. He didn't even tell his mother that he wants to marry me. He just said, meet my girlfriend. Girl, Guinea, so you have a boyfriend. Everything I said, my dad would just look for one. The man, I don't know. I don't know what he thought, but the disappointment was too much for him to bear. So that's how I explained to him that he came and picked me to Owerri to go and see his mom. After everything, my mom now called me to the corner. Did you see his mother? So you think you can marry into that family? Give me their name. Don't worry, your father will calm down. We will look at the name, we'll look at the family very well because my daughter will not go into any family that will mess her up. But I'm not saying that you can marry him. I want to know this family that is making you do all these things you are doing. Give me the name. And any day you leave school because you want to go and see anybody, my hands are not there. You people can talk on the phone. If you want to see, you should come to this place and see. If I hear that you traveled there, I will personally tell your father. I said, Mommy, I'm sorry. Anyway, that's how my dad banned me from ever talking about this. But coconut head, somebody in love. I continued doing my smooth, hide and seek. Hide and seek in the sense that I stopped leaving school when I should not. Do you understand? So if I wanted to travel over the weekend to see him, it would be like go and come back that day. Do you understand? Not go and stay overnight because my father will catch me. Fast forward to just before we were preparing for our final exam in year 3. I just made a quick trip to Aba and then my parents called me from nowhere. Odi, where are you? I said, I'm in the hostel. I lied. Said, I'm in the hostel. Said, you're in the hostel. Start going home now. My mom said they were on their way to a traditional marriage. Somebody from my village was getting married. But that I should start going home now. That they don't know what is wrong with my brother. I said, from where to where? Because I had 2 brothers, right? And 2 younger sisters. So that time when I was in the hostel, my younger ones were always in the house. I was the only one in the uni then. So my brother was preparing to start uni that year. In fact, he got admission to read elect engineering. He was one of the best. In fact, he was one of the first people to get admission safe. So he was ready to start uni. But I think by the time they called me, they were closer to Uyo. I had to tell my husband, please, my dad is like, there's a problem, so I have to start going. My husband drove me back to Uyo. When I got to Uyo, my brother was already in the hospital. He was unconscious. I don't think my parents were there yet, but whatever happened, they arrived just shortly after. So everybody was just in panic. I didn't know what to do. Like, this was just a very faithful Saturday morning, calm Saturday morning. My parents just left the house. Everybody was fine. He was on the computer. So all of a sudden, he started complaining he was having headache and that he couldn't see, blah, blah, blah. Before you know, he slumped. That's how he slumped. And that's how he was rushed to the hospital. At that point, we didn't know what to do. Even the doctor, it was a private hospital, the doctor didn't know what to do. So me, self, I was also curious. Stepped out, I called my husband. I said, look, oh, I don't understand what is wrong with my younger brother. This. My husband said, okay, what is it? And he turned back. He started coming. I said, where do you want to come to? He said, no, don't worry. That's this as it stands now. My parents need all the support they could get. My husband, in fact, I commend him for his bravery, because if I'm the one following the experience I had with my dad without macheting, I would not come back to that hospital. Like, I would not even show my face. He came back. He came into the hospital. I had to introduce him to my dad. I said, Daddy, this is Dr. Dan. I had to call him because of what's happening, just because we need as much expertise as we can in this situation. Since the doctor is not telling us anything, as much knowledge as we can, so we know how to help Cheta, because he was totally unconscious. He wasn't even coming around. So my dad, these are people that were so vulnerable. My dad never, the man self, never remember saying carry cutlass on my head a few weeks ago. So my dad was like, hey, Dan, oh, nice to meet you. Bang, 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 bang. Please, do you think, what do you think is wrong with him? Do you think he's going to wake up? What is the situation? Then my husband looked at him, did some little examination, and started calling his Oga in Wimpole to explain the situation, to see if he could rub minds as well. So this was him just trying to call different doctors that he knew to see if they could think about what could be the problem at that time. So this was what my husband was doing for us at that time. He gave us little hope, as much support as we needed, especially because, when you constantly have a doctor around you, like in the ward there, you feel, okay, if anything is wrong, the doctor would know, right? That's what his presence did for us. So I could see that my dad was so welcoming of him at that time for that purpose. He called his organ. His organ gave him an idea of what could be wrong, which is either aneurysm or something, which we know that was what it was anyway. So the organ suspected aneurysm, brain aneurysm. And then it was a matter of us now sitting and waiting for him to wake up, at least, so that we can transfer him to another hospital, because they said we could not transfer him when he was unconscious. So we had to wait, my dear. I'm going to fast forward this whole thing, because this whole thing is becoming very emotional for me. It's been a long time I talked about it. I feel like I've actually shared this story on this platform, but I don't want to go too deep into what happened, because again, like I said, it's becoming very, very dark and emotional for me. So I'm going to jump. Fast forward to later that night. My husband didn't go. He didn't leave our side. Good thing he was off work that weekend. So he stayed put in the ward. Everybody was still in the ward until past midnight when my brother passed. That's how we lost my younger brother. My parents almost died instantly, because this is something we least expected. This boy never woke up from this coma. He died within 24 hours. It wasn't even up to 24 hours, because he was brought in the morning, and by midnight, either 1, 2 a.m. No, that was around 1 a.m. He just passed. So let's not forget the purpose of this video. At that time, my parents could not even imagine taking their son to the mortuary. I don't know how else I'm going to narrate this without feeling the heaviness of this story. But then again, it's my life experience. It's my story. And I remember when I wanted to share it, my sister said, why do you want to connect Cheta's death to your marriage? And I said, it is what it is. We can't avoid it, even though we don't talk about it. But after so many years, this has become our story. This has become our life story. We cannot erase it. We are living with it. So there is nothing wrong if I connect it, because that's actually the truth. Anyway, so back to what I was saying. I'm someone that I've never been to the mortuary. I don't even think, up till now I'm talking to you, I never stepped into the mortuary because of that fear. I have that fear. When my brother passed, my husband was the next adult that was available in that ward. My parents, we literally had to even package them, like to make sure they get home safely. I can't even remember how they got home. I'm not even joking. Because at that time, our focus was how to care for my brother that just passed. So my husband was the one that took over from there, made sure he was put in the ambulance. We drove straight to the mortuary, made sure he was, we did all the documentation, and then he went in with them to put him in the mortuary because I could not go in. I was such a scared little girl, right? So I couldn't go in. My husband did everything for us. And because it was so late, he came home with us. That was the first time he ever stepped foot into our house. He became like the pillar my parents were, or the pillar my parents needed at that time. I'm trying so hard not to cry. I'm not gonna cry. Jesus Christ. Okay. Okay, let's go. So he became the pillar my parents needed, especially that morning, right? My parents didn't even know where my brother was after he passed. They didn't even know what happened afterwards. They could not even fathom to even. They could not do it. Like I don't understand. I can't even put it into words. They were totally passed out. Like because this is their child. This is their 14-year-old child that passed. So it was just, I don't know. We like they didn't know anything. So he was the only support system they had. He was the only one they could lean on, to do some of the running arounds. Even that morning, we had to go back to the mortuary because myself, I could not even sleep. We all stayed in the living room. My husband was there. He sat on the chair. I remember so well. And my parents were just checking their blood pressure. He was checking their blood pressure, you know, in and out and all that. So the next morning, he went back to the mortuary to make sure everything was okay. He came back and told my dad that everything is in place, gave him all the necessary information he needed to give him about where we've put my brother. I mean, my dad didn't used to have blood pressure then, but the reason why he was checking is because that was the necessary thing for him to do to make sure they were stable before he left for Abba. So when he left, it felt like everywhere was so empty again. Like, that person that was always making you feel everything will be fine. He left and my parents broke down again. So it was such a terrible moment for us. He was buried a few days after. My husband was there as well. He gave us all his support. And the following weekend, he came around again to make sure that we were fine, have you people eaten? So along the line, I noticed that, oh God, I didn't want to cry. You guys can see why I could not even type this to share it on my page. So God, forget, please ignore these tears. I'm not gonna cry. So I noticed that my parents started longing for his visit. I noticed that they started looking forward to him coming around. My one time very hard father that would be like, "Oh, who is that? I don't want to hear." He started warming up to him. I remember one weekend he came and I just turned around. I saw both of them in the living room. So usually he started coming and then he'll come in the morning and leave in the evening. Come in the morning, leave in the evening. So that particular Saturday, my husband visited us. I saw him and my dad. My dad was asking, "So where are you from?" I saw a different father completely. Someone who I never thought he was going to ever look at this guy. And my husband was doing all these things, not even caring whether my dad was noticing him or not. He was just doing it. I believe he was doing it for me. And if you know my husband, like if you know my husband right now, you will know that everything he did was just who he is. He was not even any form of pretense or trying to buy anybody's love. No, my husband is too good to buy love. He can't, like, he will just love him. So it was almost like anytime he's around, he would cheer us up. Everyone would be lively. We wouldn't forget that we just lost our brother, And then when he leaves, everywhere becomes moody again. So he was becoming the life of the party in the house, and we started looking forward to him and to seeing him again. And personally, that whole incident endeared me to him. In fact, I knew that, this is my my main bus stop. Nobody has ever shown me that kind of kindness. He didn't need to do all that, to be honest, because even whether he did them or not, I was still going to marry him. Do you get what I'm saying? My parents were still going to bulge at some point, but he did it because he saw that we needed that support, because such a kind person as well. My dad started warming up to him, started asking him questions, and even started asking him what his interest is in me. And I remember one day, my dad was like, I hope you know that my daughter will finish her school before you even think of marrying her. And my husband said that he's not in a hurry. He's happy to wait and all that. I think that's another way he won my dad's heart, because my dad was thinking it's something he wanted to just, I must marry her now. And then my dad went, I hope you know my daughter will still further her education after her first degree. My husband said, I'm willing to support her to any level she wants. My dad said, that's what you people say before you know. My husband said, then my dad said, see, I don't mind. Even when she's in your house, master's, PhD, I am happy to continue to sponsor her. All I'm saying is let my daughter go as far as she wants to go. I don't want anybody to stampede her. I don't want anybody to stall her. I don't, all those things. So I think this was my dad now trying to make him understand where he stands in terms of what he wants for his daughter. And it was a very funny conversation, and everything was saying my husband would be like, yeah, I know. And that's how he won my dad's heart, to be honest. That just it. There is so many stories that happened afterwards, but for me and for everybody, in fact, my sisters, they knew that that's how my husband warmed his way into my dad's, or not just my dad, my parents' heart. And do I need to even say that ever since then, my husband has been like a son to them? When I see him and my parents, they've come a long way. You would think, in fact, if you see us, if you see him and them, you would think that that they are his biological parents, the way they handle him, the way they treat him, the way they love him, the way they fight, Seth. If you see them fight, that's another funny part. If you see them fight, like, this one will say, I'm not going to call this one. This one will say, I'm not going to call this one. Before you know, this one will soften and start calling. So it's just, they built that relationship from a very vulnerable point. So when you guys see my husband and my mom, I hope this will make you understand how the relationship started. Why my mom never jokes with my husband. He's been a huge part of our lives. About 2 years after that, we got married, and we have lived happily ever after since then. When I say my husband did not have it easy with my parents, he didn't. It was so tough, especially me. I was mostly at the receiving end. But again, I'm grateful to God, because my husband came into our lives at the time when we needed him so much. In fact, I feel like God just placed him in our lives when we needed him, because I don't know what we would have done. Even maybe up till now, like I'm talking to you, maybe up till now, we wouldn't have been able to even find a diagnosis for my brother, if that makes sense. We would never have, because even the doctor that was treating him in that particular hospital did not know what the diagnosis was. It happened like jazz. Do you understand? My husband played a very huge role in our lives that will ever remain engraved in our hearts. So this is the thing. In my home, I don't understand what it is. But since we lost my younger brother, it became a taboo to talk about it. Do you understand? Not like taboo, but when you don't want to say it because you don't want the next person to get hurt. We became very conscious about the things we said surrounding that situation. So I understand when my sister asked me, are you sure you want to connect this incident with your marriage? And I said, it is our story, isn't it? It's never ever going to change. It's not going to bring him back, whether I share it or not. This is our story, unfortunately. So I don't see anything wrong with sharing it. I really wish my husband came into our family in a different circumstance, right? But again, we do not have control over these things. This is how it played out. And I would not say it's to my benefit because with or without the situation, I know that it was just a matter of time for my dad to accept him, knowing the quality of man my husband is. My dad was struggling with accepting the fact that his daughter was even thinking of getting married at that time of my life. So for my dad, go and focus in school, studies, all that. And it was not anything personal with my husband. It was just the situation, him not wanting his daughter to get married at that time. But now my husband won their heart and warmed his way into our family through this whole circumstance, and everybody saw him for who he was and they took a liking to him. Even my siblings, when you see my sisters playing around with him like that, is because he has always been like a big brother to them from the word get go. Me self, I can't even come between them. Do you understand? They have that relationship before even marriage. My husband was like a brother to us, so it was something that they had shared that bond even before they all got married to their individual husbands. So I hope this makes it clear. I hope this, I don't even know how this gist is gonna go. I just felt the need to just get it out there and share it. And I'm happy that I've been able to share it because again, the fact that it became a bit heavy for me along the line also shows that not talking about it is stampeding on my full healing. Honestly, my younger brother's death has been such a huge, I don't know, huge strain on not just all of us, all our mental health, right? But it's something that we feel as the years go by, it gets easier, it gets better. But when you actually don't talk about it and eventually talk about it, it just becomes even more heavy. So I'm so happy that I've been able to share just before I end the video, right? Something to just make me feel good about this, my late brother. I remember when he used to hear about me dating this, my husband, because they used to make fun of me. My brother was so protective of me. Even though he was a younger brother of mine, he was so protective. So he would say, who is this person? Do you even know? Do you even know him? He'll be telling me if I hear anything, I'll go and tell daddy, I'll go and tell mommy. So he was always doing that thing to me, right? And I'm always like being very careful so he doesn't go to spill because I didn't want him to spill. So I would tell my husband, I would say, this is my younger brother. He will deal with you. He will give you a tough time before he will even accept a handshake from you. So we used to joke about it like that. So I remember when my husband came to the hospital, we are just waiting for him to wake up. My husband was making fun, saying, Cheta, I'm in front of you. You have to wake up and, to give me that ginger that you said you were going to ginger me. You have to wake up and face me. Sure, you have been doing all this, your gra since I'm here now. So he was making that kind of fun, hoping that he will come around, So imagine that my husband, or he never really got to meet him physically, and my husband never really got to see him alive. It's such a very painful, sad situation that I wish he eventually met my husband. Okay. I think this summarizes the whole story. I don't know how long this story is going to last. I don't know how many minutes this video is going to last, but please, you guys should take it like this. I don't intend to cut the video into two. So this is where I'm going to end this video. If you have enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in our usual type of content. Stay fabulous. Bye.